how you scale yourself in terms of getting your knowledge better and better and made it to the level of CTO of Zscaler.
If you spend all your time being critical at what you do, then you'll never be able to go to another job. But if you can develop people and systems around you that make it so that it works whether you're there or not, that frees you up to move to the next level or the next role in your company.
What do you make so fascinating about the zero trust system?
Well, I think a lot of it, if you think of zero trust as a whole, it's a way of us trying to describe a concept. And I think even over the past 10 years, there's been a lot of different concepts: defense in depth, SONA, network architecture,
Yes.
And all these different sort of themes. And I think the main purpose of those.
What sort of protective measures that you follow while taking the decisions at the Zscaler as being a CTO? Like, just give me 3 core rules. Every few years, the ground shifts. Internet, cloud, mobility. And now something faster, harder to name. Bill keeps returning to the same unease, building for things he can't even see yet. Not polishing tools, but removing the need for them. Let the system handle the noise. Save yourself for few decisions that actually matter. It's a way of thinking that resists urgency even if the pace keeps accelerating. Today, our guest, Bill Lapp, the CTO of Zscaler, and this conversation isn't about keeping up. It's about deciding whether or not to keep carry forwarding. Hey, so welcome back. First of all, Bill, I want to ask you one thing. How are you today?
I'm feeling great. I mean, it's perfect temperature out, it's good energy, and there's a lot of stuff going on here. It's fantastic.
Wonderful to see you here and the amazing solutions provided by Zscaler specifically. And you spending a decade of creating multiple things, right? How do you find the new technology as they go further and upgrade into different things? What things excites you most today?
I think the one thing that excites me is that every year there's something new. I think if I think of 10 years ago, it was all about, hey, there's the internet. How do you access the internet? And then it was, well, cloud and public cloud and SaaS. And then it was mobility and applications. And then from there, we started to go into the big cloud providers. And then now, in the past 2 years, it's all about AI and generative AI and how do we use AI. You don't even hear about, machine learning anymore. So I think for me as a technologist, the most important thing is how do you build something or how do you create something that can survive the test of time with the things you don't even know about yet, the things that you don't even know that are coming down the pipeline. So it's not just a matter of, inspecting content and being good. Now, like AI, you have to be able to understand context and what's meant, and it's a whole new paradigm. So I think, all I know is that I don't know what's coming in 2 years.
Absolutely, because the pace now is like superbly 10x as compared to the last decade, right? After the emerge of AI and newer tools, the scale is really huge.
Well,
Right?
think of just the development tools, right? I used to have to sit down and write software. I used to
Yes.
have to, if I want to do home automation, I'd have to write it in my own plugins. Now, the rate of creation is so fast because you have all of the agentic tools and you have all of the generative tools for writing software. So if I want to go write software, now I just tell it what I want to build. It writes the software for me. I might read it for, content clarity, etc. But now the fact that I don't have to worry about where my semicolon is or my developer environment, and we've all been there. I don't know, anyone who's written code. And now you can just describe it and do it. I mean, the pace is changing even more because the generative AI is multiplying our output for sure.
And what do you think? I mean, how the scale is going to be forward? Is the specialists are going to evacuate or get into oblivion, or the journalists gonna flourish for the next few decades?
Yeah, I think this is a question that's come up a lot in history if you look at it throughout the Industrial Revolution and, moving into factories and everyone's, okay, now there's no more jobs. Or think even back in the beginning with the phone company when they used to have to switch the telephone lines and we had all of the operators that were really good at that. And then all of a sudden you get digital phones and you're like, well, what's going to happen? And computers are going to take over everything with the invention of the computer. So to me, instead, what I see this as is no different than a lever right? These tools take the skill sets that we already have and take away the drudgery work and then actually make us all 10x better. And I think it'll actually lead to more specialization. Just like the web and internet brought up search engine optimization and things like that. Now all of a sudden you have AI and prompt, generation, and how do you get AIs to say your product's better. And I just think that that's what's going to happen is, yes, it will replace the jobs that maybe weren't high value, but it's going to create so many more high value jobs and open up access to far more. So all of the people that used to do those telephone wires to connect calls all found other jobs that were higher level. And I think it's going to continue to happen. I'm pretty excited by it. It's going to create a lot of opportunity for people in all geographies to do that.
Definitely. It's going to open the new doors for sure. You've been into the decade, more than a decade in the technical industry. How you scale yourself in terms of getting your knowledge better and better and made it to the level of CTO of Zscaler?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing is kind of like how we built Zscaler, right? Which is, trying to make a single person have to do the drudgery of every rule or every command or do every policy and every little change and say, what is actually common among all people? What really matters? What's of value? What's important? So I think the importance of making it so that you can use the tools and systems around you to do 95% of the work that isn't of value. And then you focus on what I would say are the big high value activities or actions. Someone once said when I was doing a performance review, they said, you know what, you did a lot of wonderful things throughout the year, but what really stood out? What will people remember from the last year? Because people are only going to really remember 2 or 3 masterpieces that you did last year, not all the little things. And the advice is to almost be, I don't want to say a lazy leader or a lazy manager, but it was actually, let more things handle on their own. The stuff that's lower value, it'll work itself out. But when it's an important thing or it's a big opportunity, go all in and make that happen. I think a lot of that is like our product, right? We wanted to make it so that anyone that is a security or networking practitioner could let a system like ours deal with the 95% of the day-to-day drudgery type actions. And then we could really take people and let them focus on the top 5% that makes a giant impact. And I think that's whether you're thinking of the technology we built or how you build yourself up to continue to grow. It's if you spend all your time being critical at what you do, then you'll never be able to go to another job. But if you can develop people and systems around you that make it so that it works whether you're there or not, that frees you up to move to the next level or the next role in your company. And the more that you can make yourself or put yourself out of a job, so to speak, the better, because it meant you created a foundation to grow on. So whether you're building a product like, Zscaler's products to do that, or you're doing it in your own career, keep trying to take the drudgery, automate, scale, use systems, and then you keep tackling the higher and higher value opportunities ahead.
And how do you think Zscaler helped you tap that heights?
Well, I give a lot of credit to our original developers and founders. Their whole focus wasn't to build a web proxy or a software gateway. It was, how can I get an IP connection or a network connection, do something to it, and lots of things, and then how can I, log the data around it and connect it on the other side? So if I have this giant connection engine that can handle internet scale type data and also save it to storage, then I could be at the center of every transaction globally. So when I do that, the question is, well, what do you do if you're in the middle? And that's where we went. We're like, well, the most valuable thing we do in the beginning was looking at URLs. And then it started to be, well, let's interpret the URLs. So that's like a CASB technology. And then, well, let's inspect more of the data. That's like data loss prevention, firewalls, things of that nature. And now with AI, it's about how can we use that exact same technology to interpret context and intent, in dealing with generative AI type systems. And so I think the most important thing I think we did was create more of a system or a capability that we build on versus a point product that then all of a sudden I need to create a completely new product for the next thing that comes up. So I think all of our founders and the team really did a great job. Create a generic system that can be applied to most problems. When we see new things come up, bake them into our existing platform at scale, and then continue to grow it. And I think that's probably the best thing that I've seen and learned over the past 10 years is when you have a system like that, you can quickly move into these market adjacencies to take on the problems that come up. Most customers I talk to now, you go in and they have, 50 different tools. It's because every time a problem came up, they had to buy a new tool. Well, if I can solve 50 problems using the same core solution we created, and maybe with small tweaks, it goes a long way. And I think that's what I'm really proud of over the past, 10 years that the team has built.
Like your core is currently for the zero trust security system, right? At the Zscaler.
Yeah.
So,
but I would say zero trust
I've heard
this
you,
year.
Yes. I have heard you talk a lot about it. So, what do you make so fascinating about the zero trust system?
Well, I think a lot of it, if you think of zero trust as a whole, it's a way of us trying to describe a concept. And I think even over the past 10 years, there's been a lot of different concepts: defense in depth, SONA, network architecture,
Yes.
And all these different sort of themes. And I think the main purpose of those are to help explain the concept to people day to day. The most important thing to me is, what does zero trust get you? And to me, what that means is I can have any device, anything, any application, and I can connect it to any other device or application, no matter where it lives, on any network, with great performance and experience and great security and control. That's what we've tried to build. And that's, to me, what zero trust really gives you. Zero trust isn't how do I network segment. It isn't how do I block certain things. It's not least privileged access. It's connecting the things that I want to connect to in a safe manner anywhere with great experience. And that's what excites me about zero trust in general. And how do we explain it? Because I think in business, that's what drives business. You can secure everything by not talking to anybody or doing anything. But to me, zero trust, when done right, I think the way we do it, it's like sports. We allow you to play a sport faster, more safely, because we give you some protective gear than you could without it. What I don't want to do is put so much protective gear on somebody that they can't play the sport anymore. So how can I give protective gear to make them play faster and better versus just saying no to everything, which can be a danger in security in general?
And what sort of protective measures that you follow while taking the decisions at the Zscaler as being a CTO? Like, just give me 3 core rules if any engineer who wants to become someone of a big company's CTO. What could be the 3 major rules that you follow as yourself?
I'd say number 1 is the best way to protect yourself is never put yourself in a position to be attacked or make a mistake. I think if, for example, being on a private network, you go on a private network and you can go east-west, you can attack everything, you got to put firewalls in and monitoring systems. Well, it's really easy not to have problems with your internal network if you never actually get onto the network in the first place. Yes. So how do we take that completely away? It's, again, it's a situation where I don't need to be a better, switch or router or something like that. I want to replace the need for switches and routers in the first place. So stop just thinking incrementally about what you can do. Start reinventing it altogether and say, why do I need this? Why do I need that? When you build an electric car, why do you need oil change, belts, tuners? You can just have a battery. So completely rethinking the problem. So number 1, I would say rethink the problem altogether of what is it that you're trying to achieve, not what is it that you're trying to build better, like an electric car versus a gasoline car, and completely rethinking it. The next thing is, how do you not put yourself in a position to have something bad go wrong in the first place? I can't steal or lose customers' data if I never actually write the data down and never store it to disk. I don't have to worry about a bunch of these compliance issues and so forth. And I think the final thing is when solving a problem, think of the core of the issue that you're trying to solve. If you can solve that in a generic, scalable manner, then you can apply all the new situations that come up to it. Don't just try to solve the quickest way to that one simple thing, like, how do I stop the use of SaaS? Well, if I want to control the use of SaaS, how does that apply to AI? Maybe I have to make a completely new product. So the third thing I would say is, when at all possible, create a generic system that you can apply to many different domains and not just the single one in front of you.
That's amazing. I definitely like the third one, to make it generics, not as much as core specified to just one solution. Try to build things that can be reused in multiple segments, right? So
it means no shortcuts, but you have to think a little bit more broadly on that.
Of course. So thank you so much for that insight, and it was lovely talking to you. Uh, you also have a panels and stage and everything, so would love to see you there as well. And it was lovely having you here.
No, thank you, and look forward to seeing everyone at Web Summit. It's a great event, and really appreciate all the support of the team here.
Thank you so much, Bill.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Thanks.